Welcome back to week 1 discussion on writing structures for alkanes. But before we now this time we are going to learn how to name a compound. Okay, name a compound that's a derivative, that's an alkane. Name a compound that's an alkane or a derivative. Okay, alkane or its derivative. Okay, before we can get all crazy working out names, let's get some basic things out of the way. All right, now you may have to remember it over a course of time. It will become your right or left hand, whichever hand you are. So if a carbon is only got one, carbon should have 4 bonds, right? So I'm going to write open structures to start and then go to condensed structures. Okay, as I said, this is the most fundamental or primitive structure you can have in a organic compound. Okay, this is the least number of carbon compound ever existed. All right, so that's a methane. All right, condensed form, it's known as methane. Okay, I think I pointed this out. Okay, and I'm going to create a column here to go with it. Okay, oh, the line is starting to drag. All right, so okay, that is 1 carbon, 4 hydrogens, right? Now it does, this doesn't matter, so let's go to say C2, and we know that there's 6 hydrogens, right? So this is okay, ethane. Okay, and the next one is propane, C3H8. Okay, let me give you fundamentally how we're going to add some suffixes to it. So C4 is H10. Now all this is alkane, so it's based off the general formula CnH2n plus 2. Okay, and that's called butane, C5H12. Okay, that's a pentane. Okay, C6H14, that's a hexane. Let's stop right here for now. Maybe one more for good measure. C7H16 is heptane. Okay, it's very easy. Okay, now methane, ethane, these are by themselves. Okay, whereas when they combine in a compound, okay, like when you say we add something to it, okay, like when you have a derivative, you see I have a derivative, right? What I mean by derivative is a straight chain would be the alkane itself, and any isomer that you make off the straight chain, we can call it derivative. Okay, and because let's say you have 6 carbon straight chain, but then you have 1, and then for the isomer that you take 5 and add the 1 more, that extra carbon we have to label it differently. Okay, I'll show you an example in just a minute. So for now, let's say you replace the A and E by YL. It's just that simple. Okay, so in a compound you would see right away that all of these will be 1 hydrogen shot. Okay, now the condensed for this would be, the ethane would be this. Okay, propane would be this. Okay, I'm not going to write all of them, probably write a few. Okay, butane would be, I highly recommend you go write, since we have done all these compounds as part of our exercises so far, you should be able to write the straight chain. Okay, only the straight chain can have the A and E suffix. Okay, because that's the way chemistry works. Okay, now for the derivative, whenever you see a CH3 now or anywhere in the course, a CH3 is known as methyl. Okay, so it's 1 hydrogen shot. If you look at it, let me get my pen a different color so I can highlight it. A straight chain, okay, methane, okay, is straight chain. Okay, whereas this is nothing to do with the straight chain. This is just to help us name it. All right, You see that this has 3 hydrogens, right? So that's methyl. Let me get my red color back. You probably guessed it. Okay, this is CH3, whereas if you are 1 hydrogen short, that would be ethyl. Okay, and again, propane, all hydrogens are present is propane, right? If you're 1 hydrogen short, now all this will only make sense when we actually do an example, but it is my duty to give you the information needed. Okay, and for butane, it's the same thing. You write the condensed structure with 1 hydrogen short. You could have done it on either side. It doesn't always have to be the right terminal carbon. It could be the left terminal too. But you can only remove 1 hydrogen. Don't start removing crazy number of hydrogens. And I want you to try for pentane, hexane, and heptane and write its name. Okay, so this will be whatever you think it will be. All I've done is have changed the A and E to YL. Okay, now let's look at this in action. Okay, because without that it's probably of no use. All right, so let's pick C4H10. Okay, that's butane, right? 4 carbons, right? I have told you that. So let's, if you're, by now you should be already practiced well with the straight chain structures. So this is called, people write it 2 ways. It's butane, or if it's a straight chain, we also call it N-butane. Okay, N-butane. This is what I would want you to go with. This is just the way we talk and do, but when you actually write something technically, this is what you should. This is a straight chain. But let's go get our isomers, okay? So we got the straight chain, so the next likely place would be to go to our 3 carbon system because we're starting with 4, and we know we can't put it on the terminal, so it can only go here. I don't think you can go anymore, and that's it, right? So this has got CH3, this has got 1 hydrogen, this has got CH3, this has got CH3. How do we name it? This is a very, very, very important concept, and as I showed you on that MCAT exam, there were a lot of naming questions on the organic section of it, right? Let me get a different color. First, you got to find out where your longest chain is. Okay, that's going to be your base. Okay, to name this particular derivative of butane, this is a derivative. Okay, because it's an isomer, right? It's a derivative. To name the derivative, it's not that easy. This is just butane, and you add a prefix of N dash and becomes N-butane. Easy. To name the derivative, first you gotta identify the longest chain, straight chain. Longest straight chain or longest chain, whichever one you want. This is my longest chain, okay? And you start numbering. In this case, the methyl group is right in the middle, so it doesn't matter which side you start numbering from, okay? So I'm going to start from left to right, okay? That's easy. I'm going to do another example where it's not going to be that straightforward, okay? So you already figured that I'm going to make things difficult for you, all right? So first you start with the derivative, whatever that is hanging from the straight chain, and this is a CH3 group, right? Now if you remember earlier, that's why I gave you that laundry list of all those names, is CH3 is not same as CH4. CH3 is called methyl, 1 hydrogen short of methane, right? So you write methyl, okay, and in front of it you write where it's located, all right? So it's in the second spot, so you put an hyphen, 2-methyl. What is the longest chain? It's got 3 carbons, right? The longest chain. In this, we're not worried about this chain, we're only worried about the derivative part. The longest chain, okay, in the derivative has 3 carbons, right? 1, 2, 3, right? Any compound containing 3 carbon is known as propane, right? Even though it's a hydrogen short, it's hydrogen, it's not hydrogen short, it's just it's When you rearranged it, the hydrogen moved with the methyl group. Okay, because it's got 3 carbons, okay, it is propane. Okay, you don't write it as propyl because that's the longest chain. Longest chains don't ever get the condensed YL. Okay, so 2-methyl propane. I know most of you probably thinking that's a little too much for me. Well, it's not the end of it. I'm going to stop here because the video is becoming long. I'm going to come back and do 2 more examples and leave you with 2 or 3 things to solve on your own. All right? Okay, I'll be back.